Hi everyone, this is Tanishka. You might know me as the Moon Woman, and this is my astro forecast for this week as we approach the new moon this Friday, August 30. So, this new moon is going to be the closest one to Earth for all of 2019. So, when the moon is particularly close in proximity to us, we can understand that the moon's gravitational pull has an effect on the oceans, and we are around 65% water. It has a huge impact on us, particularly our psyche, which is our soul, our inner self, and our moods, our feelings, our emotions, because the moon governs the inner tides, if you will, of our feelings and emotions. So emotions, particularly as the moon wanes down to her darkest point of new moon, that's when we can go into darker emotional states and darker mental states. So if you do, just know this too shall pass, and that it is an opportunity to, being shown the image of, whistle while we work, in the tale of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, how they go in there and they're mining for diamonds. When we go into the dark, when we go into the depths of the psyche, it's an opportunity to get some gold. That is the gold of consciousness, of awareness, by looking at what we weren't aware of currently or previously. So this super new moon is happening at 6 degrees Virgo. So you might like to, have a look at your own birth chart. If you don't have one, you can get one free online. There's many places offering it now. And just see if you've got anything close to 6 degrees Virgo, because that'll really be felt this week. But the thing I want to say is this new moon is a really golden opportunity to heighten our powers of manifestation and abundance, because we have a grand Earth trine. So we have planets all in Earth signs in a triangle, okay, so 60-degree angles. And a trine is a very auspicious, helpful, harmonious aspect. And the earth signs, they're very much about abundance, good fortune, good health. So this is a wonderful, window to, and that's not an Illuminati sign, to, really step through a portal into a new chapter of health and abundance. And true abundance starts with good health. What's good for our bodies is good for the earth, because ultimately there is no separation. Our bodies are fractals of the earth mother. So, if your body is talking to you, like Olivia Newton-John said in 1982, I know that because the cassette Physical by Olivia Newton-John was my first cassette for Christmas, and I thought, well, it might have been 1980. Anyway, I digress. So the earth signs are actually really good for humor, sensuality. So, this can be a lovely time. But it can be a time of unexpected abundance coming in. So, and that's because we've got Saturn and Uranus in a trine to Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, all in Virgo. So it's a matter of where we put our focus. Yeah, if we're focusing on Saturn, which is on our lack, our restrictions, our limits, our perceived lack, then this is going to be a very, very tough time. But if we open up our consciousness to the realm of possibility, focus on the big picture, welcome in unexpected change, we may have an unexpected windfall, because then we're really harnessing the energy of Uranus, the planet of unexpected change, of aha moments, in Taurus, in the earthly sign of Taurus, in that beautiful grand trine. So new moon, the week leading up to new moon, as the moon is descending, as the light is waning. This is a time when we feel like we need to go to ground. We need to conserve our energy, do less, not be out there socializing, scattering our energy, but especially because it's falling in an earth sign. If you think about going beneath the ground, going to ground. So it's a time to listen to your body's needs, not to override them, to honor them, to slow down, to regroup and recoup. Okay. All right, moving on. New moon in Virgo, it evokes the archetypal energy of the priest or the priestess. So one who understands that we are ultimately an instrument, a vessel for the divine to move through us, yeah, so that we can do the work, we can serve the divine, yeah, through our actions, through our words. So this is a window to look at how can I raise my frequency so that instead of creating hell on earth, I'm creating heaven on earth. So, you know, ushering in a daily sacred practice to consecrate your morning routine. So rather than just having a coffee or a cigarette, you know, or getting straight on social media, starting the day with a practice to commune with the Earth Mother, with the Sky Father, and honoring the sacred temple that is your body. This is a beautiful new moon to create an altar, to create temple space in your home, in your workspace. If we're not doing that, there's more chance that we will overwork, yeah, that we will become hijacked by the shadow of Virgo, which is perfectionism, yeah? So looking for what is wrong so that we can try and make everything absolutely perfect, rather than understanding even the imperfections are perfect in the unfolding of the divine plan. So yes, it is a time for improvement, for looking at how we can improve our health and well-being, how we can improve our material circumstances, our relationship with the earth. But it's important that we stay connected to the divine so that, you know, like the saying goes, we don't, hell is, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, you know, trying to get things so right that we actually, you know, make a mess of things, yeah, through restriction and control. So Virgo is the sign of habits and routines. So this is a good time to review, you know, what is it that you're doing on a very regular basis, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, maybe on an hourly basis, and what impact is that having on your health and well-being? It's interesting to note that our habits, you know, if people just try and cold turkey give up cigarettes or, you know, give up coffee, you know, that is very, very hard if we don't acknowledge the function that they are performing for our psyche. In other words, when I smoked, and I smoked for 17 years, it was a way of holding myself together when I didn't feel I had the support, yeah? Well, there were many, many payoffs. It was a way of suppressing grief from eclipsing me. So it's important that we, if we're trying to give something up, that we list all the payoffs, all the benefits that we get from that, and then look at how we can, you know, give ourselves those same benefits in holistic ways, in healthy ways, so that we're not like an inner child whose teddy bear, whose coping mechanism has just been ripped away. And the quality of our daily habits is actually underpinned by the state of our psyche. In other words, you know, how we act indicates how healed or unhealed our psyche is, which is our inner self. The more fragmented, yeah, the more we will reach for quick fixes to keep ourselves together, to self-soothe like a baby sucking on a breast, you know, any sort of oral fixation like cigarettes, food. It's, you know, that 2-year-old who's looking for sensate comfort. So the more that we seek to heal our psyche by understanding the different facets, the different archetypes that together comprise our psyche, the more healthy our habits just naturally become. Yeah, all change, all health emanates out from within. So yeah, a couple of resources you might find helpful. I've got for women, the Inner Goddess course starting this Friday, new moon in Virgo, sign of the priestess, which is about healing and integrating the 7 facets of the feminine psyche. So if you want more info about that, head to my website, themoonwoman.com, and click on Inner Goddess. If you're looking for inspiration to create more healthy, happy habits, I've got a lovely book called the 28-Day Happy Challenge, and all the profits, all the proceeds go to support women and children that have been rescued from sex trafficking and are being rehabilitated with yoga and with sacred practices by Atira Tan, who is a wonderful woman, and her organization Art to Healing is doing amazing work in the world. So we're supporting her to do that. And every time you buy the 28-Day Happy Challenge from my website, themoonwoman.com, you also get lots of, you know, wonderful inspiration for anchoring happy habits, but you're helping to make others happy too. All right, on with it. As I said, perfectionism can be the shadow of Virgo. And I just want to make the point that we go into a state of hypervigilant criticism when we feel out of control. So again, we don't want to just focus on the behaviors, okay? We need to look at the root cause, all right? And the root cause is that fear of the unknown, the fear of being out of control. This is why people are unable to stop compulsively doing, whether that's cleaning, working, washing your hands, dieting. These are all shadow Virgo. Yeah. So if you do have these behaviors and they become particularly noticeable in the lead up to this new moon, this is an invitation to ask, what am I really afraid of? Because the opposite sign of Virgo is Pisces, okay? And Pisces, the biggest lesson of Pisces is to not be ruled by one's fear, okay? And we do that by reconnecting with the divine so that the inner child doesn't feel separate and alone, okay? So this is why, you know, every sign, we can't look at it in isolation. We have to look at the axes of its opposite sign and bring on the strengths of the opposite sign so that we don't flip into the shadow of the opposite sign, if that makes sense. So Pisces, the opposite sign of Virgo, invites us to look into our subconscious fears, the fears we don't even realize that are running us. And hypnotherapy is a wonderful tool for that. So is theta healing, and emotional freedom technique is also wonderful for clearing subconscious beliefs out of the nervous system. Because if we're not acknowledging the degree to which the subconscious fear-based beliefs are running us, we can act out like a manic overdoer who fears they cannot stop for fear of everything falling apart, okay? So how do we harness the strengths of Virgo? Well, Virgo asks us to consider our current schedule and our future plans and ask, is this really practical? Is this doable? Is it viable? Is it sustainable? Because if we don't answer yes to those questions, it is inevitable that our health a bit further down the track is going to sound the alarm, okay? And the more we override the body because of that compulsion to try and be perfect or good, yeah, the more we deteriorate our health and well-being on all levels, and mentally, emotionally, energetically, and then, of course, the physical symptom if we ignore the warning signs mentally, energetically, and emotionally. So this does not mean necessarily if you've identified that your workplace is draining you or is toxic, or, you know, your marriage, whatever, you don't need to just walk out the door and say, that's it. Quitting is not necessarily a way of healing a situation, and we can then just repeat it, bringing that same pattern of behavior with us to the next situation. So this is an opportunity to review and analyze, which is, you know, the strengths of Virgo, to look at what is working and what isn't, and troubleshoot and problem solve and attend to the details so that we can complete tasks. Because if you've got lots of unfinished things, it's a sort of a white noise, low level stress that's all around you, a feeling, oh, I've got to do this, this, and this. Also looking at how we can implement more efficient systems that will save our time, our effort, and our energy, even if they take a bit of more effort, time, and energy to set up. Long term, they're going to help us endure. And it's also a great time just to get organized by clearing clutter, by cataloging, categorizing, filing, both in the digital space as well as in our physical homes, workplaces. On a physical level, that's also detox time. So, you know, if you're getting dark circles under your eyes, if you're getting, you know, pain in your lower back, your kidneys may be sort of, you know, flagging you that they really need a flush. So, you know, lots of alkalizing, hydrating fluids like coconut water, and it's full of electrolytes. And I'm certainly not a health professional, but, you know, just listening to your body and attuning intuitively to what it's telling you and what it needs. But bottom line, don't put off what you could do today, okay? Do pace yourself this week because it's low energy, but this whole time while the sun is moving through Virgo is a wonderful time to restructure particularly your work environment, because Virgo rules work. And if you're somebody that works in the home, whether that's unpaid work or paid work, that is still work. So again, it's not just for people in offices and shops. Now, because we have an Earth trine this new moon, and Virgo is very much about honoring the sacred, this is when we're likely to experience a real wake-up call to defend the earth and all that is sacred, which is life, okay? By looking at our choices and going, is that life-affirming? And if it isn't, it is unconsciously destructive and dishonoring of life. This new moon, we have 7 out of the 10 planets in Earth signs, and that's actually 8 if we include Pluto, which is currently in Capricorn. So this is a time not just to talk about saving the earth, but to take practical action. So if you're not recycling, or if you're, I don't need to go into all the ways, but, what is it you can physically do to make an actual contribution and step that up? We also have 7 out of the 10 planets in mutable signs. So when a planet is in a mutable sign, mutable, as the name suggests, is very much about moving from one state to another. It's a time for adapting to change. Now, this can be quite potentially challenging as we're moving through Earth signs, because what does Earth like? It likes to be still. It likes to feel stable. Yeah. So it's a kind of a conundrum at the moment where we're being asked to really look at where what we've been doing, our actions have not been stabilizing, but they've been destabilizing our physical environment and our physical well-being. As I said earlier, we have a stellium of planets in Virgo, 5 to be correct: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So, all of these are asking us to, ask, how can I serve the earth? Yeah, if we look at them, first of all, the elephant in the room is that 40% of the Amazon has now burnt, the Amazon being the lungs of the earth. So, lungs are about grief. So on a collective level, the populace is grieving about the state of the Gaia consciousness that is our collective mother. And this is the wake-up call. It doesn't get bigger than this, yeah? The not bushfires, jungle fires there have literally gone up by 85% this year. And meteorologists such as the one from CNN saying absolutely without a doubt this is because of arson, because of illegal fires being lit by humans that are coming from a place of short-term greed, so wanting to clear the forests or jungles to have cattle for meat production, for money, which, Taurus, if I'm speaking about Uranus and Taurus, Taurus is about possessions, it's about wealth as well as the earth. So it's like we're being asked to make a choice. Are we doing it for earth or are we doing it for money? Yeah. So true abundance is investing in the earth. Okay. That's long-term abundance for the next 7 generations and beyond, as well as for our own lifetime. So this is certainly a time to, if we think about Uranus in Taurus for this 7-year period that we're in at the moment, this is when we're likely to see earth changes. Yeah, Uranus being about sudden change. Sorry, I just wobbled the vision. But also it's about wake-up calls. Wake up to our relationship with the earth. There is a wonderful organization called Extinction Rebellion. It's in over 50 countries, and it's about galvanizing the power of the people through peaceful, democratic demonstrations that force the corrupt officials to take action on the climate emergency that is facing us as a collective. So I would invite you to check them out. Now, the good news is we have Mercury trine Uranus. Now, Mercury being the planet of communication, it really, brings on those moments of, oh, wow, I see the light, I've got it, And so that can also bring in unexpected innovations. So it's important that we stay positive, yeah, rather than go into contraction and fear of, we'll never get rid of all the plastic, we're a parasitical race, all of this sort of self-loathing about humanity. That is not productive, it's not healthy, yeah. So Uranus and Taurus is about love. It's ruled by Venus. So the way that we're going to get through this crisis is through love of ourselves, love of the earth, working together collaboratively with brother, sister. So we have both Venus and Mars in Virgo coming together to serve the earth. I mean, it's very much like Avatar. We have Sun trine Venus, bringing in positive change. We have Venus trine Uranus. So this is ushering unexpected opportunities to embody love, to express love, to be the peacemaker, to collaborate and cooperate, to tell your friends about how they can join you in helping, because Venus is very much about our social circle. And we have Mars trine Uranus. So that's igniting our passion to take action and to see this as an adventure, okay? So Venus and Mars were both conjunct on the 24th of August. And this influence of having them so close in Virgo, if we think about Virgo, it's the sign of scrutiny, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's about discernment, yeah? So this is asking us to evaluate whether or not our relationships are healthy, whether they're good for us, by noticing the impact that the dynamic, the quality of our relating is having on our health and well-being. So Virgo analyzes through looking at specific situations, moments, responses, and citing specific examples as to why a partnership has not been honoring or serving of our highest good and growth. So this is when we ask, what impact has this relationship been having on my health and well-being? Okay, so I hope that's helpful. Yeah, I do want to say one more thing. Now, I have noticed that obviously there's a lot of passion, a lot of fear around what's happening in the Amazon. And because it is very much about clearing land for cattle meat production, this can have the potential to divide people into, herbivores and carnivores. And I do want to make this point because I am a meat eater, okay? And not because that's what my mind would choose. My mind chose to be a vegetarian, and it made me very, very sick. And for many people, it's a very healthy choice. So just like clothing, there is not a one size fits all. And we cannot impose through trying to be perfect or a good person what is right for our body, okay? This is very much a Virgo thing. So if your body, when it eats fermented things like tempeh, soy-based things, which create a lot of estrogen in the body, a damp yin environment, if you find when you eat grains, you become foggy in the mind and you can't digest and you get bloated and windy, then chances are you probably need to not eat just a plant-based diet, but ethically sourced meat. So meat that is free range. And, ultimately, if we have a divisive attitude in our mind, meat eaters are bad, herbivores are good, this is not a healthy mindset. This is as poisoned as, the rhetoric that people say, you're eating murder and you're eating the vibration of death and all of that. So just like an animal doesn't go into self-loathing and chastisement about the fact that they need to eat meat to sustain themselves in the circle of life, and the indigenous people didn't either, we need to be mindful that our own 10% rational mind doesn't become so hijacked by a perfectionistic ideal that we become a hater. We become somebody who is not working collaboratively, yeah? There are many, many ways that we're going to solve this problem, the global crisis that is facing us, and not everybody does need meat. So there is a significant percentage of the population that can very, happily live on plant-based foods, and that's wonderful. And that will help to bring down meat production. But if you're somebody like me who honestly just cannot digest a plant-based diet, then please don't whip yourself with self-loathing. Be honouring of your body, knowing that it is part of the mother, and when you honour your body, you do honour her. All right. So I hope that's been helpful. I understand there may be some feedback given my personal views on that, and you're very, very welcome to express your opinions. All right, blessings on your day.